of course, we are with you, and we pray that God may strengthen you to go through this hard moment. Well, that brings us to the discussion of the day today in line with environmental justice and waste management. And for that reason, I'm joined with Dr. Barnabas Sekau, and he's here. He's an environmental health officer, and we're going to be breaking down parts of what is really happening. What happened, of course, shall hint on it briefly, but also get into the general understanding of what really it means for environmental justice and waste management. Dr. Barnabas, it's a pleasure to have you. A very good morning.
A very good morning. Thank you for hosting me here today.
Yeah.
One thing I have to first extend my deepest condolences to the families that lost their loved ones, to the incident and the tragedy that you've mentioned prior. Sure, it is too unfortunate that as a country we lost our people in such a tragedy.
A tragedy, yeah.
We extend our deepest condolences, and may the souls of our people continue resting in eternity.
Okay, amen. Now, heading into what happened, in your own view, how would you define environmental justice, particularly in the context of waste management?
Well, environmental justice, in layman's language, means fair distribution of environmental burdens,
okay,
and benefits, with a focus of preventing environmental harm.
Okay.
Like what happened in Chitezi. This calls on and encompasses what we call environmental justice.
Okay.
That we all share the benefits of it and the burdens of it, because as a country now we sharing actually the burdens. Following what happened.
Yeah.
So simply that's environmental justice in the context of waste management. Yeah.
Okay, very interesting. Now, of course, what are some of those misconceptions which we say about environmental justice that you've encountered in your profession?
Some of the myths and misconceptions surrounding the environmental justice, people don't know what the environment is. Actually, people exclude themselves from what environment is.
What environment is, okay.
Environment is us and our surroundings in simple language. But many of us, or many of people think environment is land, water.
Land, water, and physical features, in other words.
Thank you. And they exclude themselves. So environment encompasses the fauna and the flora. That means plants, animals, us human beings, and everything that surrounds us. That's environment. So one of the misconceptions is thinking that environment is only physical.
Physical, okay, okay.
Another misconception, people think that environment has to be protected by the government.
The government.
That's also another misconception that I've found in practice.
Okay.
And actually that leads to redundancy in how we protect our environment. Because if I think that it's the local authority to tell me not to dump a waste
yes,
openly, that means that actually that open dumping might cause what we actually seeing in Chitezi.
Okay.
So that's also one of the major misconceptions about the environment. Yeah.
Very interesting. Of course, that has been in a discussion into understanding what really environmental justice is all about. We have quite various angles that we are going to be approaching this. We have, later on, we shall be talking about impact of waste management on vulnerable communities. And of course, we cannot leave out what we call the regulatory frameworks and their effectiveness. We have here something in line with corporate and industrial responsibility. Dr. Barnabas will be hitting onto that. And of course, some bit of challenges and barriers, and what are those possible innovative solutions, government and non-government organizations, the collaborations, and of course we have also practical solutions in line with that. Now, of course, before we head into the impact of waste management to vulnerable communities, let's first of all drive onto the incidents of Chitezi. What what was your impression when you actually first heard what happened there?
Thank you for the question. Actually, I was too saddened because as a country to lose lives due to waste.
Due to waste.
It is too unfortunate. Because what actually waste is, a waste is something that we think that it has, because we need to understand what a waste, and you will then see what actually happened due to this waste.
Due to this waste.
Yeah, a waste is something that has served its intended purpose. Then you feel like, why I brought this, I'm done using it, let me discard it.
Discarded.
So the last bit of this substance to cause death, actually, it is too unfortunate. And what happened in Chitezi, the Saturday of tennis, early morning, Uganda woke up to sudden news.
Yeah, it was very sad.
That people lost lives due to, let us call it, waste slide.
Waste slide.
And actually, we need to ask ourselves, how did this happen? How did this reach at this level?
At this level, yes.
We all know that Chitezi has been, actually is a landfill. That will take us to what a landfill is. And it was gazetted as a dumping site in 1996.
1996.
Yes.
Okay.
It was gazetted as a landing as a dumping site for Kampala West.
Okay.
Right. But in 2001, it was later on gazetted as a sanitary landfill.
Okay. Sanitary land.
Sanitary landfill. Because actually there are also some criteria for a dumping site to become a landfill.
A landfill.
Right?
Okay. Yes.
Then it had 29 hectares of land. It then served Kampala and surrounding areas.
Wow.
But later on in 2008, it reached maximum capacity. And actually by then it had to be closed off. But they purchased extra 2 hectares, then making it 31 hectares.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
But in 2015, actually it had reached its maximum. Capacity.
Okay.
So look, the incident, all reports indicating the maximum, it reaching its maximum capacities are there.
Okay.
The Directorate of Public Health, KCCA, indicated. Actually, the latest memo of July 2nd indicated that if action didn't, if they didn't take immediate action, things would happen. That was July, and actually things happened on 10th
July.
August. Right?
Sorry, August, yeah.
So what am I driving at? Chitezi previously was a dumping site. It became a sanitary landfill. But qualifications for a dumping site to become a sanitary landfill are there. One, it should be lined with impermeable material.
Impermeable.
Impermeable. It means
you can explain to the viewers what actually you mean by impermeable.
Yeah, actually, let me first define what a sanitary landfill is, because we're talking about landfills and people may not know it. A landfill is an engineered facility specifically designed to dispose waste in a controllable manner that is eco-friendly to safeguard one's health and that of the surrounding. We have various methods of dumping waste.
Various methods of dumping.
Of solid waste management. And disposing them to a landfill is one of them. A dumping site to become a landfill, it has to be with certain specifics. Of which one, it should be lined with impermeable materials. Like clay or sort of. What do I mean by impermeable, as you ask? Impermeable means that that layer will not allow toxic liquids to go down beyond it. Why do it have to be with such a layer? Because actually, if the sanitary landfill doesn't have such layers, these toxic liquids, what we call leachate, the leachates will go and contaminate the groundwater.
Even the groundwater.
Thank you. And actually, you see, you see its relevancy. So also a sanitary landfill, among specifics, it has to do with leachate collection systems.
Okay.
Because as you understand, that when they dump waste in this sanitary landfill, agree with me that liquids will be coming out from the waste.
The waste, yeah.
The garbage that is being dumped. So a sanitary landfill should have that system that will collect that toxic liquid.
Liquid, okay.
Also, sanitary landfill should have a gas collection system. Why a gas collection system? Because during breakdown and microbial activity to this garbage that is being disposed into the sanitary waste, there are gases that actually being produced.
Okay.
Like the hydrogen sulfide. That gas that brings out that rotten smell.
Yes.
I think you've ever...
I've smelt it.
Yeah. So if a landfill doesn't have a gas collection system, the surrounding area will be with unpleasant odor, that rotten odor, that rotten smell, right? And because how do we get these gases? During breakdown of garbage, of organic materials in the waste, gases are produced, like hydrogen sulfide, like I've told you, like methane. Actually, one of the causes, stated causes of the waste slide that we saw was the accumulation of methane.
Okay.
Methane comes...
Does methane cause a blast? Because there are locals who say they had the blast.
Actually, methane is highly flammable.
Okay.
It's a highly flammable gas, and it comes after anaerobic breakdown of the organic materials in the waste. Methane, actually, it is that gas that brings up that great warmth into the waste. So it can explode.
Okay.
So look what happened at Chitezi. A lot of heap of waste, methane being generated down, let alone it had to burst off, causing what you saw, right? So if you don't, if a sanitary landfill doesn't have a proper gas collection system, what you saw happening at Chitezi actually had to happen, right? So those are some of the specifics.
How long do those gases take by the time they explode?
By the time it explodes, it means that gradually it has been piling. Gradually,
like 20 years?
Actually, it might not take years, because every time breakdown of these waste take place, these gases are produced. If the composition is high, then you see what might happen.
What might happen?
Yeah. So if a landfill isn't properly managed with the such specifics, you saw a catastrophe. But that catastrophe, its genealogy is from what wasn't being managed. Right.
Okay.
Right. So those are some of the specifics. We have various methods of waste disposal methods. Landfill is one of it. You also have composting method.
Composting.
What composting means is just composting means decay or decomposition. Okay. Because we have various types of waste. The various types of waste brings up various methods of treatment. Right? Like composting, or composting is decay or decomposition. Composting majorly goes for organic or biodegradable wastes. For example, the garbage. Because this is biodegradable, it can decay. If it decays, we can actually have fertilizers from the decomposed matter. So you see, also waste has various uses. But people might not actually know how we might use these things. That's why I thank you, Smart TV, for having brought up this topic, right? So we have composting. Composting can have various types. We have aerobic composting. Aerobic composting, it means that leave your garbage under oxygen, just put it there. It decays. It gives us fertilizers. We have anaerobic composting, which we actually call biomethanation. Biomethanation means just leave this material, just leave this matter, this waste, not exposed to oxygen,
Okay.
you get methane. And methane, it is useful. We can get biogas from it.
Okay.
Later on, we can get, we can have power from this biogas.
Maybe if I'm to make a little inquiry, all those composition methods you've been mentioning, they are all environmentally friendly
They are very
to the surrounding,
They are environmental friendly to the surrounding,
to even the people.
to even the people, if done in a professional way, if done in an organized way.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
And, and actually, leave alone composting, as I've told you, we have aerobic and anaerobic. We also have other methods like thermal technologies.
Thermal technologies.
Yes. Actually, this is really too important because if you see, there are some type of waste that cannot compost, that cannot decay.
Decay, yeah.
Then you think of thermal technologies. This is waste to energy methods.
Methods.
Like incineration.
Okay.
Incineration means you burn in a controlled way, such that you gain other energies, like heat.
Okay.
You incinerate these, you burn them. Because if you burn the waste in a controlled way, agree with me that you're going to reduce this waste by the volume of the waste by 90%.
By 90%.
Right?
Okay.
We also have leave alone incineration. We have gasification. But all these are modern ways that we can use, and we have something good out of the waste. Yeah.
Interesting. Maybe lastly, before we get into the break, if you take a look at the Chitezi area, is the garbage, can I call it, you mentioned a collection field.
Yeah.
How many meters are the people supposed to be? Is it ideal for people to actually, because away from just the landslide, the slide that happened, what are those other potential impacts, the surrounding people that come onto the people that are surrounding the area? Is it even wise for them to stay near those areas?
Okay.
Or if not, what is the right distance away from that garbage field?
Okay. One, it is not right for a gazetted landfill to be occupancy or people to surround.
To come and surround.
That is not right. That is not right. There should be a defined perimeters such that people can have their residential area away from a disposal place. Because if they don't do that, what you saw at Chitezi even would be worse.
Okay.
Even it would be worse. To take it back, we've seen historical tragedies of sort in different countries. For example, in India, there was an incident that happened in 1984.
Okay.
They called it the Bhopal gas tragedy, where over 8,000 people died.
8,000?
Because a pesticide plant linked methyl isocyanate gas to the atmosphere accidentally, and many people died.
It blasted.
It blasted, and many people died because waste doesn't merely mean solid waste. There is also in gaseous form. There is also in liquid form. There is also an incident in Minamata Bay in Japan. That happened between 1932 to 1964, where actually around the bay, waste were being disposed in the river, and this waste contained mercury. So people continued consuming water containing mercury. They continued consuming fish containing that had actually ingested mercury, and people suffered from Minamata disease. So these incidents, actually, if people don't stay away from a designated area of waste disposal, they face a lot of issues. Leave alone death that you saw. We also have chronic issues that later on come in. Because you see, as I told you, we have water contamination. Because the leachate that goes underground definitely contaminates the water sources, the underground water sources. So when people go to fetch water from open water sources,
yes.
even from closed like boreholes, this water is already contaminated by the leachate, the toxic liquids that came from waste, the garbage from the waste to underground. So people, if they consume it, they will get the side effects. Also the air pollution. Just know if a landfill or if a disposal area is in a place, gases are produced, as I told you, the hydrogen sulfide, the methane, the sulfur dioxide, the carbon dioxide. All of these gases contaminate the ozone layer.
Okay.
This leads to acidic rain. This leads to poor air quality. And actually people breathe in this oxygen which actually is contaminated. Let alone they face and experience respiratory diseases. They experience gastrointestinal tract diseases. So these are all impacts due to residing near disposal areas. And actually people the public need to know about all this. Because if they don't know, they will continue suffering from
such issues.
So those are some of the impacts. They can be direct, as you saw our people losing lives. You saw our people losing property. You saw our people, families being shattered. They can be indirectly, like the diseases I've mentioned, like the air, water, soil pollution. So those are among the impacts that can come when people reside to less perimeters of the disposal
areas. All right, thank you for that insight. For now, let's take a short commercial break, and of course, we're still returning to ponder further into this discussion of environmental justice and waste management.
Great.
Smart 24, driving business.
My name is Chomugisa Teddy from Chikube district. I'm a businesswoman in fashion and design. I've been doing this for almost 10 years. From what I know before I came, it was making gomez, trousers, dresses in vitenge, and some shirts in vitenge for men. Been here for 1 month, but I've learned how to stitch a trouser with a behind pocket. I've learned a long sleeve shirt with a cap placket. I've learned how to use a button machine on shirts. There's a button machine we use. You place the button machine, you put the buttons on your shirt. I've learned how to use a baby lock machine. When I go back to Chikube, first and foremost, I know now, since I have knowledge, I will have to extend my business. The message to GLOW project is to support us as women, because not only me, not only who is there down, others are being left there. I want all of us to be lifted at a goal as women in my district of Chikube. Again, the project of GLOW continues supporting us. As I have told you, that fashion and design is wide. We need more trainings. And we need these machines of electronic machines, because they're very expensive. We cannot afford to buy them. The cutter, the rotary cutter, the baby lock, that one of stitching, we cannot afford, because one machine almost it is on 2 million, whereby like me with my small business, I cannot afford to buy that machine. So we are requesting the project of GLOW and other stakeholders to assist us and buy for us those machines.
GROW, generating growth opportunities and productivity for women enterprises.
Three inspired souls brought together by love are set on a life-changing journey.
This is your life, Mackenzie. This is no longer a dream.
It's just something about Mackenzie.
I'll never marry you.
Your position does not allow you to break work relationship rules.
Where choices change everything. Crossroads, weekdays at 8 p.m. on Pal Magic Prime. DSTV channel 148, GoTV channel 303.
MTN ekutusako papapate musonga. Asatu mwezi guno gwa munana jangu kudamzu wota kuragi backgrounds tunyumirwe ngokuyingira jinja kuba emitwalo ebiri naye tiketi wogigulira ku MTN Momo ogifuna ku mutwalo gumu ye ya VIP ya mitwalo 3 kati nonyiga *165*2 noti hash oba kozesa Momo app wegulire tiketi yo ku MTN Momo ku bei rahisi tosubwa abayimbi bonna ab'e Kampala n'ab'e Busoga papapate netegekeddwa Douglas Rwanga nekutusibwako MTN.
Together, we're unstoppable.
This is Jordan. When it comes to classwork, Jordan is magic. Jordan shines. Jordan makes his peers better. Jordan is a true leader. White Star Magic family. Be a leader. Be magic.
Smart 24, driving business.
Yes, we'll be back from the break. It's exactly just a few minutes to the top of the hour. This is Smart Means Business. I'm Andrew Barige, and we are discussing matters to do with environmental justice and, you know, of course, with a big referral to the incident that happened to Chitezi in that line. Well, now, Dr. Barnabas, let's take a look at, from your own side, let's take a look at community engagement. How is it important? Because, like you said, in your earlier introduction, you mentioned something that people think it's only government that is supposed to protect the environment. Yeah. So how important is community involvement in waste management practices to ensure environmental justice?
Well,
and how?
Well, it's too important for a community to proactively and actively engage in the environmental justice. Because at the end of all, they are the communities.
You are the one being affected.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So if they don't take a pivotal part in the advocation of such friendly programs, and if they don't take part in actually practicing right ways of environmental waste management,
management.
They might end up to a point that actually they cannot turn back.
Okay.
How can they, what part do they play? One, they should advocate for better practices. So we have a problem here in our country that many people just open dump waste. They don't take it to their sole responsibility to check where I'm throwing a waste, what is it going to impact on the environment?
Yeah.
Because at the end of all, you see our people are the ones that pay taxes. If you just merely dump a waste, this waste might end up choking a drainage channel.
Yes, true.
And actually, it will be the local government to come and renovate this choked drain. This local government will use your local taxes.
Your local taxes.
So you see that at the end of the time,
it comes back to the.
It comes back to you. The trajectory just comes back
to you, the individual.
So it means that if a community, if a person, if a people don't collectively, rightly do things in environmental justice, it comes back to them. So they should advocate for good, friendly environmental practices, but also they should advocate for better environmental laws.
Better environmental laws. Now,
and actually, they should also, one should sensitize another on better practices of environmental justice. Most especially on waste disposal.
Okay.
Another point, also tackling environmental justice, because environmental justice doesn't only stop on how have I dumped a waste. But it also goes on how you manage, on how you maintain, how you segregate, how you sort your waste at home.
Okay.
Because we're seeing that the major percentage, the most percentage of waste that are being dumped to Chitezi, to other dumping sites are domestic.
Domestic waste, yeah.
Are from households.
Household, yeah.
But the problem is these wastes are not sorted right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because that is the major point. Actually, that is the major problem. That wastes are not segregated in their right way.
How? In what categories?
In what categories? You find a garbage, because a garbage is a waste from plant or animal. Me inclusive, because I'm also an animal, right? So you might find a garbage mixed with a rubbish, mixed with a polythene, mixed with a plastic. So if you don't segregate waste, just know that things won't be right. So this begins at home. There are some things actually can begin at home. We sort our waste right, we dispose them right, they fit them rightly.
Because I'm thinking, even if you try to sort it right, the trucks that come to collect,
also that takes a point.
They just take it.
And actually that takes a point to whoever contracts these people to take waste. Because if you bring in a contractor, you need to tell them the right methods of doing work. If you don't tell them the right methods of doing work, it will end up in Chitezi when wastes are just mingled. You find a plastic with a polythene, with a banana leaf, with this, and this actually leads to more dangers. Yeah. So communities should advocate. Communities should practically do friendly activities that actually don't harm the environment, because at the end of the time, it comes back to them.
Now, this is interesting. From your experience, would it be right for a country to have a number of dumping places? Because I'm seeing the perspective of having these dump places at district level, at parish level, I don't know, or every group of houses having a specific place. It's like how we have septic tanks. When you have these waterborne toilets, you make your own disposal area. Would it be ideal for still, when it comes to garbage, every area having at least a specific piece of land they gazette for dumping to avoid collection of huge heaps from various parts?
You see, to answer you, the right thing would be following the hierarchy of integrated safe waste management.
What is that hierarchy?
This hierarchy tells us the best first priority would be reduction.
Reduction.
At source. Reduction of waste
at source. Where it's collected?
Where it is generated. Say a homestead.
A homestead, okay.
We should try as much as possible to reduce the waste that we generate as a household.
But is that possible?
If it is not possible, we should opt for reuse and recycle. Because this is a hierarchy. If you cannot reduce, then reuse, because as I defined the waste, something that has finished its intended
purpose.
But you might find someone disposing something that actually has not finished its intended
purpose. Okay, yes.
To join that.
Yes.
So if you cannot reduce, then reuse. If you cannot reduce, recycle. Then this takes us, because recycling, it is not an individual effort. Recycling is an institutional method. It's an administrative method. Then this goes to districts. This goes to all our local governments. This goes to our central government. Because if you cannot reduce, reuse.
Okay.
If you cannot reuse,
recycle.
If you recycle, recover. Because recycling means that I've recycled this, I'm going to recover it back.
Okay.
If you cannot recover, then let me dispose. That is the hierarchy of integrated safe waste management. But you find someone, because disposing is the last resort.
Okay.
You might find someone actually not following that hierarchy. One might just dispose, going to the least priority. Yet actually there are some other steps. But these some other steps, going back to your question, that would it be right for a district, for a municipality, for a town council to be having a specific site of disposal?
Where they decompose.
To dispose and see what next. The right option would be, as I've told you, to first on individual level to follow this hierarchy.
Okay.
Where we cannot do as an individual, then go for institutional systems. We should have institutional systems. At least we recycle.
Okay.
Right? We recycle, because even the more we create disposal sites, disposal is the last resort. Now you're creating more sites. More sites.
It's dangerous.
Very dangerous, because as I told you, even disposal sites have impacts to the environment and to the health of an individual. So if we dispose, it would be right to manage the disposal sites rightly.
Okay.
Managing disposal sites rightly. That at disposal sites, as I told you, criteria specifics for sanitary landfill, that it should have gas collection systems such that we can recover this methane, we use it in biogas, right?
Okay.
It must be well designated such that it cannot contaminate, right? It should have a sorting area such that at least we can sort plastics. We can sort this, to minimize the cost that we would use in treatments.
After these incidents, people seem to be much more scared about piling up of garbage.
Yes.
And they don't seem to focus onto the implications of that garbage itself, despite it may not necessarily slide.
Yeah.
And actually this question came as a result of that. The narrative right now is about not having heaps of garbage in one place.
Yeah.
And don't you feel it should be, this discussion of that incident should be driven in a way that people should now start to mind of the other potential impacts of having heaps of garbage, rubbish in one area? Because the concern now is heaps. But I think there are way more, because garbage slides may not happen every day, but I believe there are people that are affected due to piling up of rubbish every day.
Yeah. Actually, the first question would be, why would we allow a heap of garbage,
First of all,
waste
to
compile? Because God helped us that there are natural methods that can be done to reduce the heap. Like the aerobic composting we talked about. That even you can sort garbage rightly, and the microorganisms help you to decompose and break down this.
Exactly.
So the first question would be, how can we allow a heap of garbage to make a mountain?
A mountain.
That is so intriguing that it is not right even, because there are methods that would help us not to reach at that point. But level. The problem is the priority question then comes in. Where is our priority?
Where is our priority?
Where is our that is the major thing, because as I've told you, in 20, citing the Chitezi scenario, in 2015. Chitezi was at maximum capacity. Reports from the Directorate of Public Health and Environment, KCCA, notified the other authorities, though we are not here to take blames on who didn't do what. Yeah. But there are responsible people who should take the course, right? Because if the Directorate notified 2015, even latest July 2nd, that if no immediate action, things might elapse. Actually, they predicted it. It did happen like like how they had stated. So, where is our priority?
Okay.
As a country, as local governments, because I can tell you, in this growing population, last Ubos told us in last census that we 45, okay, an approximate of 46.
46, okay, yeah, that's
an 46. Approximate. So if we not, because in 1996, when Chitezi was gazetted a dumping site for Kampala, Kampala had a population less than a million.
Okay.
Both permanent and transient. But to reach this level where both transient and...
We have like 5 million.
Thank you, like 5 million. Look at that, the growing population, the growing economic structure, the growing infrastructure, right?
And economic activities.
All of those lead to wastes. Having just Chitezi, because recent statistics said that a day Chitezi was receiving 1,300 tons of waste a day.
Every day.
Because the population has grown, the socioeconomic status of our people has grown, the infrastructures are there, so a lot of wastes are going there. Right? So I think the question would be, where is our priority? Where is our priority? And I think waste management would be, because we are a developing country. Going to middle status income, right? Our priority would be in waste management, right? One of our priorities, because waste management, as I've told you, if you don't manage safely waste, health comes in.
Health.
Right,
health.
Health implications comes in. So I think we should put more emphasis on waste management, because, thank you, if we put our emphasis on waste management, I told you that we can generate power.
Power.
The biogas. 2, we are giving people
jobs.
3, we are saving people from diseases. 4, we are having our climate and environment safe. So you see, all these reasons actually drive you to taking waste management a priority.
Now that brings me to the current laws that and regulations in addressing the environmental justice aspects and waste management. How effective?
How effective? One, these laws are there, but they have to be implemented on a multifaceted approach, multidimensional.
Okay.
That we should not leave this alone to NEMA, we should not leave alone this to Ministry of Environment and Water, we should not leave alone this to KCCA. So it is a multifaceted approach in implementation. Laws are here. One, on a global scale, Actually, UN, we have the environmental organization under UN, environmental department under UN, but also we have SDGs. Actually, UN is now moving on SDGs. SDG number 13 talks about clean water and environment. We also have the International Organization for Standardization, number 9001, talks about effective environmental management. If you come on a national level, we have the NEMA Acts talking about how we can safely manage our environment with waste management inclusive. But later on, they decentralized this because every region, every community, every part of the country has its own dynamics on how it can manage its waste depending on the demographics of of the region, of the region rather. Because now you see different local governments have different ordinances, have different bylaws on how they manage waste. For example, the KCCA 2000 ordinance that brought in private partners. Because actually we have private partners on board that help these local governments take away waste.
We've seen.
And actually, our local government should put more emphasis. Where are these people dumping waste? How are they managing it? It shouldn't only end on giving them contracts. Because you see that is the problem. If they just give them mere contracts without taking a detail of method of statement of these companies, just know people will just be dumping waste. People want to be segregating waste. Taking back to the question that you asked, that a person might be segregating waste at home, but these the collectors, they just mix. So it is these local governments that are giving away contracts to private companies to indulge more on how these people are doing their work. Because you might find a person having a contract to collect waste in a municipality, in town council, in a sub-county, but when this person just merely go and dump waste in a wetland, out in different outskirts of Kampala, you are seeing different contractors, some of them, not many, just dumping waste anyhow. You find a heap of waste being dumped in a swamp. You find a heap of waste being dumped in a load, in those feeder roads. So I think this is where local governments should put in more efforts to follow up. How are these contractors there? Who are those people? How are they trained on how to sort waste? So those are things that we call upon, and such that we see that waste is being managed safely. So those are some of the regulations that are in the country to see that waste are being managed. Yes.
Very interesting. Maybe your last remarks as we wind this up.
As we're winding up, one, I have to thank you for having created this awareness to our public. I thank Smart TV because this is great. So our people know that this is not a sole responsibility of the government. Another parting shot I have to share with our public is that environment concerns us, everyone. Don't just merely don't just merely dump a waste anyhow, thinking that it is with the local council to take away this. So environment starts with us, and environment ends with us. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for being part of today's edition of Smart Means Business. My guest this morning has been Barnabas. He's a doctor. He's an environmental health officer, and of course, he's been pondering, breaking down aspects to do with environmental justice and waste management. Have yourselves a wonderful time. Good morning.